Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at something pretty significant in the cybersecurity world.
Yeah, definitely a big one.
We've got news involving Harvard University, which, is about as prestigious as it gets. They've been listed as a victim by, well, a very well-known ransomware group, Clop.
Clop, they certainly make headlines.
And this isn't just like a minor data leak claim. This seems to hit right at the core systems, the administrative side of things.
That's right. The claim itself came straight from Clop, posted on their TorLeak site. It's a major development, especially for the education sector, but really for any large organization.
So what's really critical here, and maybe you can expand on this, is that it looks like two big threats converging.
Exactly. You've got the headline grabber, Harvard being compromised, but then there's the how, and that's the second threat. The mechanism.
Right.
It wasn't, someone clicking a bell link. It was a sophisticated, previously unknown vulnerability, a zero-day deep inside Oracle's e-business suite software. Very widespread stuff.
A 0 day, right? We hear that term a lot.
Yeah, and it's crucial here. So our mission today is to, well, unpack this. We need to look at the Harvard breach claim, really understand this specific zero-day CVE 2025-61882, and then profile the actors behind it, Clop. They have a playbook for this kind of attack.
Okay, let's start with that claim Clop made. They're known for being pretty dramatic on the dark web, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. Their announcement was typical Clop fanfare.
What did it say exactly?
Something like, page created, data archiving is in progress, a torrent link will be available soon. All caps, exclamation points.
Standard extortion tactics, basically blaming Harvard for bad security.
Pretty much. Which, of course, prompted a response from Harvard's IT department.
And what do they say? Did they confirm it?
They acknowledged they were aware of reports that data was taken.
Yeah.
And importantly, they directly linked it to a zero-day vulnerability in the Oracle e-business suite system.
Okay, so they pointed the finger at Oracle, essentially.
Well, they emphasized it wasn't a failure unique to Harvard. Their statement stressed that this issue has impacted many Oracle e-business suite customers and is not specific to Harvard.
Right, trying to frame it as a vendor issue, something they couldn't necessarily prevent because it was a 0 day.
Exactly. They're suggesting they were caught off guard by a flaw in the software they rely on.
Okay, that makes sense as a response, but, is blaming a 0 day always a complete shield, especially for an institution with Harvard's resources? And they also mentioned the scope was limited, right? Something about a small administrative unit.
They did.
But what kind of data are we talking about with Oracle EBS? Is small unit still potentially very damaging?
That's the critical question, isn't it? Oracle e-business suite isn't just some minor application. It's often the absolute core of administration.
Like the really sensitive stuff.
Yeah, think HR records, payroll, financial accounts, procurement data, depending on the setup, potentially even student or donor financial details. So even if it was confined to a small administrative unit, the type of data potentially exposed is incredibly valuable. High value for extortion, high value for resale.
So small unit doesn't necessarily mean small impact in terms of sensitivity.
Precisely. But Harvard did state they acted quickly once the vulnerability became public knowledge. They applied the Oracle patch.
And they said there was no evidence of other systems being hit.
Right. They stated no evidence of compromise to other university systems, which suggests containment, that the breach was limited to the server or servers running that specific vulnerable Oracle software.
Okay, so it all comes back to this term 0 day. Let's break that down for everyone listening. What exactly makes it such a potent threat?
So think of it literally. The vendor Oracle in this case knew about the flaw for 0 days before it was exploited in the wild.
Okay. So no time to prepare a fix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like discovering a secret back door in your house after someone's already used it to get in. The blueprints didn't show it. Nobody knew it was there. Until the attack happens or someone finds it and reports it responsibly, there's just no defense against that specific method.
That makes sense. So tell us about this specific one, CVE 2025-61882. How bad was it?
It was bad, really bad. It affected a core part of Oracle EBS, the concurrent processing product, specifically something called the BI Publisher Integration Component.
Okay.
And it received a CVSS score of 9.8 out of 10. That's critical. Doesn't get much higher than that.
9.8. Wow. And what specifically made it that severe? What could an attacker actually do?
The really scary part, it allowed an unauthenticated attacker, someone without any login credentials, just network access over HTTP, basically just able to reach the server to compromise the system.
No username, no password needed.
None. And the result was remote code execution, RCE.
RCE. Right, that means.
That means the attacker could essentially run whatever commands they wanted on the affected system.
Okay.
Full control. Game over for that component.
Okay, that's definitely critical. And the timeline here is pretty concerning too, right? You mentioned exploitation started well before the fix was available.
Yeah, this is alarming. The first known exploitations seem to have started around August 9th, 2025.
August 9th.
But Oracle didn't publicly announce the vulnerability or release the emergency patch until October 4th.
October 4th, that's what, nearly 2 months?
Almost 2 months. A huge window of opportunity for attackers who knew about this flaw.
And we have an idea of who might have been using it during that window.
Well, intelligence firms, like CrowdStrike, assess with moderate confidence that a group they track as Graceful Spider was likely involved.
Graceful Spider.
Yeah, that's a name often linked to the team operating under the CLOP banner. And their focus seemed to be mass data exfiltration during that period.
So, Clop again. Given that time frame and the potential access RCE, the actual exploit process must have been quite complex.
Oh, it wasn't simple. This wasn't just running one command. It was a multi-step chain. Think of it like picking multiple locks in sequence.
How did it work, basically?
First, they likely used an HTTP POST request targeting a specific path, OA-HTML saying servlet. This seems to have been the key to bypassing authentication, getting past the first guard, so to speak.
Okay, so that got them inside without credentials.
Sort of. Then, once they had that foothold, they made subsequent requests to abuse a legitimate feature, Oracle's XML Publisher Template Manager. They tricked it into executing a malicious XSLT template.
Which basically told the server to run their code.
Exactly. They essentially turned a legitimate server function against itself to achieve remote code execution and start stealing data. It shows real technical depth.
Making the server itself do the dirty work, that level of planning really points to a sophisticated group. Let's pivot to Clop then. Who are they? Why are they putting this much effort into finding 0 days in things like Oracle EBS?
Right, so Clop is known as a very active, Russian-speaking ransomware as a service group, RAS.
Meaning they might develop the tools and others use them, or they run the whole operation.
It can be both, but Clop seems heavily involved in operations. They are famous for big game hunting, targeting large organizations for huge potential payouts. And they pioneered, or at least perfected, the double extortion model.
Steal the data first, then encrypt, then threaten to leak if no payment.
Precisely. They hit you twice. They apparently emerged around February 2019, spinning off from an older cybercrime group called TA505, which has been active since at least 2014, mostly focused on financial cybercrime.
And they have operational rules, right? Like avoiding certain regions.
Yes, like many Russia-based groups, they generally seem to avoid targets in Russia and former Soviet countries, the CIS region.
Okay, but still, finding and weaponizing a 0 day in Oracle EBS takes serious resources, serious skill. Why go to that trouble when, phishing emails still work? Isn't it overkill for a financially motivated group?
You'd think so, but it's actually a very efficient strategy for them. It's an investment.
How?
Instead of trying to phish thousands of individual users at different companies, they find one vulnerability in one widely used piece of software, especially software used for transferring data between companies or managing core functions.
Ah, like a supply chain attack almost, hitting the central hub.
Kind of, yeah. By exploiting that one flaw, they gain access to potentially hundreds or thousands of victims simultaneously. It massively scales up their data theft operations for a single initial effort, maximum return on investment.
So targeting Oracle EBS fits that pattern perfectly.
Absolutely. This isn't likely about Harvard specifically. It's about the platform. The Oracle EBS vulnerability is just the latest example of Clop's signature tactic. They hunt for 0 days in third-party enterprise software to conduct massive data grabs.
And they've done this before, successfully.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Extensively. Their most famous campaign was probably the movie and transfer vulnerability in 2023.
I remember that. That was huge.
It was massive. They exploited a 0-day SQL injection flaw, CVE-2025-61882, and reportedly breached something like 2,773 organizations globally, all because they used that one vulnerable file transfer tool.
Wow. 2,773 from one flaw.
And before that, also in 2023, they hit Go Anywhere MFT using another 0-day, CVE-2025-61882, compromising over 130 organizations.
Okay.
And even further back, 2020-2021, they used 0 days in Excelion's file transfer appliance, FTA, to steal data from around 100 organizations.
So there's a clear established playbook here. Find a flaw in widely used B2B or core admin software, exploit it at scale, steal data en masse.
Exactly. Hitting Harvard via this Oracle EBS vulnerability is just the latest chapter in that ongoing campaign strategy. Harvard was likely just one name on a very long list of potential victims using that software.
Okay, so let's synthesize this for everyone listening. We have a major breach at a top university, but the root cause isn't a simple mistake. It's a sophisticated attack by a specialized group, Clop, leveraging a previously unknown zero-day flaw in critical software, Oracle EBS. What's the main takeaway for you?
I think the big takeaway is how interconnected and systemic these risks are now. A vulnerability in a core platform like Oracle EBS isn't just an isolated IT issue for one company.
It's a sector-wide, maybe even global risk.
Yes, it represents an immediate, known danger across all sectors that rely on this: software, finance, government, healthcare, education, you name it. The potential blast radius is huge.
And there's official recognition of that danger, right?
Absolutely. Underscoring the severity, this specific vulnerability, CVE-2025-61882, was added to CISA's Known Exploited Vulnerabilities catalog, the KEV list, on October 6, 2025.
Just 2 days after Oracle disclosed it.
Right. Being added to the KEV list is a big deal. It means CISA confirms it's being actively exploited in the wild and mandates U.S. federal agencies patch it by a specific deadline, in this case, October 27, 2025. It's a clear signal to everyone. Patch now. Oracle themselves strongly recommended applying the fix immediately.
Okay, so patching is obviously step one, the immediate reaction. But what about defense before a patch exists? How do you defend against a zero-day attack like this when, by definition, you don't know about the vulnerability yet?
That's where layered defense becomes absolutely crucial. Patching is reactive. Proactive defense means assuming vulnerabilities exist that you don't know about.
So building defenses that can spot weird behavior even if they don't know the specific vulnerability?
Exactly. Things like robust perimeter security. A key tool here would be a web application firewall, a WAF.
A WAF. How does that help against something like this multi-step exploit Clop used?
Well, a properly configured WAF acts like a smart security guard for your web applications. It inspects incoming HTTP traffic before it reaches the Oracle server. It can look for suspicious patterns, malformed requests, attempts to access restricted paths like that sync servlet, or attempts to inject malicious code like the XSLT template. It might not know about CVE 2025-61882 specifically, but it can recognize the type of malicious activity involved in the exploit chain and block it.
So it could potentially break that multi-step chain Clop used.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
It adds a crucial layer of inspection and filtering that might stop the attack before it even gets started, even without knowing the specific zero-day flaw exists. Continuous vulnerability management and robust input validation are also key parts of that proactive stance.
Okay, that makes sense. Layered defense is key. So here's a final thought to leave our listeners with, maybe something a bit provocative. Clop just demonstrated, again, that 0 days in core administrative software are incredibly effective for mass data theft. The patch is out now, which is good, but what happens next?
That's the crucial point, isn't it? The patch being public knowledge is a double-edged sword.
How so?
Because now that the vulnerability details in the patch are public, every other threat actor out there, not just sophisticated groups like Clop, but also less skilled, opportunistic attackers, can analyze the flaw and the fix. They can reverse engineer it.
To build their own exploit pools.
Exactly. History shows the public disclosure of a critical, remotely exploitable vulnerability like this almost certainly triggers a wave of follow-on attacks. People will create weaponized proof of concepts, maybe even integrate them into automated scanning tools.
So the race is on.
Absolutely. For any organization running vulnerable versions of Oracle EBS, the question isn't just, were we hit by Clop before October 4th? The urgent question now is, can we get the patch deployed before this wider wave of opportunistic attackers starts scanning for unpatched systems?
Because the technical barrier to entry just dropped significantly.
Precisely. Clop did the hard work of finding the zero-day. Now others can potentially ride on their coattails. That race between patching and widespread exploitation just became much shorter and arguably much more dangerous for anyone lagging behind.